this short lecture will focus on advertising appeals and how to recognize them. When we think of advertising appeals, we put them in three categories, and we use Latin words to do that. One is called ethos, logos, and pathos. So ethos has to do with credibility. In other words, trustworthiness and perhaps reputation in the context of a celebrity spokesperson. So whenever you see a celebrity spokesperson in an advertising campaign, whether they are credible or they're just famous, we call that the ethos approach to advertising. There's the second one we're going to look at is called logos. This has to do with logic and facts and figures. So for example, if you're advertising the new iPhone and it has some features such as the camera that is advanced, you're going to be focused on the camera itself and how it has 3 lenses and how it does certain things. So that would be we're using facts and figures, statistics, showing features. That would be the logos approach to advertising. The third one we're going to be looking at is emotion, and that's called pathos. So the pathos has to do with eliciting emotion from our audience, and that might be anger, sympathy, happiness, things like that. So this is the pathos is probably the most in depth as far as examples. So we're going to be looking at that last. First of all, let's look at ethos. And the term has to do with credibility. It might be a famous person that has nothing to do with an industry, or it might be someone who is in the industry that's somewhat famous. Either way, that's called the ethos approach. And when we look at ethos, we're looking at using a famous person who has some credibility, is high, and also has high likability. In this case, Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors. And I'm going to show you examples of ads, and this is one of them.
A researcher found that men over 45 who don't have erection problems have a little bathroom habit they do before.
Sorry about that.
Infinity, empower the drive.
What Steph Curry has to do with cars? Nothing, but he is a highly likable person, very famous athlete. So he is their celebrity spokesperson. That's an example of the ethos approach. And then the next one is going to be the logos approach. And this term, we help you remember it when you think of logos having to do with logic. And we want to convince the audience of facts and figures. So just think of logic there. It's when we use cold arguments. And by that, we mean like data, statistics, common sense, to convince people of something rather than appeal to emotions. So this is in other words, the antithesis or the opposite of emotions. So let's look at an ad here that uses this approach. So they used a creative way of positioning the logical approach, and they showed some of the features, which is an entertaining way to do it. Now we're going to be looking at pathos and emotional appeals. And when we look at those, we refer to manipulating someone by targeting their emotions and feelings. And by the way, I should say this now, that any ad campaign you find that you identify, you're going to be perhaps looking at two approaches, two of the three. And so that is very possible. You could have a cold argument, but also showing how it appeals to emotions, or you could have a celebrity spokesperson using emotions. So you can cross over to two of the three at times. So I want you to be watching for that. So we want to feel, what is pathos? Feeling happy, sad, angry. Those are the emotions. So we're going to be looking at some example of those. And buying something will make the viewer feel better, and that's really what the object is, and that's what pathos is all about. And this is an example. If you think about Coca-Cola, what are they selling? Are they selling sweet water with Coke syrup in it? That's not what they're selling. That's not the essence of what they're selling. They want to get you away from that. Stop thinking about the product itself and think about what the product offers in terms of, in this case, happiness. You note that they did not have a single word in that video. Could have been shown anywhere in the world because there's no language to get over. So anyway, that shows happiness. And now we're going to be looking at hold on here. We're looking at fear. And this was this ad I'm going to show you was from a presidential campaign in 1964, and it was the ad was looked at as out of bounds by the Federal Trade Commission, Federal Communications Commission, they looked at it as out of bounds, and you can probably tell why. It's one candidate basically inferring that the other candidate is going to cause a nuclear war. So this other ad I didn't mention. It talks about fear and what climate change is going to do to us, which obviously it hasn't done that to us. But this is the ad I'm going to show you that it was actually banned. Once it aired, then it was banned. And it
From the
elicits
Library
fear.
of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Two, three, four, five, six, 8, 9,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. These are the stakes to make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark. We must either love each other or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high.
So anyway, it was you probably agree it's out of bounds, the ad. This one is kind of interesting. It's regarding the bandwagon approach. And it's a ad that shows you better get on the bandwagon or get into the cool group, or things aren't going to go well for you. So what is the bandwagon? It comes from jumping on the bandwagon, which is an old phrase back in the early 1900s, and before that actually. And jump on the bandwagon to show support, join the crowd, capitalizes on the fun of being part of a crowd and socially accepted. So this is an ad that leverages that in a humorous kind of way.
All right, first day of school, Hunter. Remember to raise your hand in class. They see those cufflinks.
I look like our lawyer.
Exactly.
Why can't I just dress like them?
Them. Excuse me, young people. Pardon me.
Mom.
No, darling, I have this.
Mom.
Where did you get these looks?
Old Navy?
The Navy. It's the Navy.
Old Navy, Mom.
Could you turn around for us? May we see the back?
Mom, please.
Hunter, Hunter, Mommy's speaking.
Mom,
Hunter,
it's my first
Hunter, let Mommy handle this. And how much for the denims?
$8.
$8?
This shirt was $4.
Uh-huh. And you do know that children who lie go to prison, right, Hunter? And does there happen to be any sort of a sale?
Yeah, all kids stuff is up to 60% off.
You're going to be late today, Hunter. We're going to Old Navy.
So there you have it. Pretty good job of integrating humor into the bandwagon approach. And if it's popular, it must be correct. So that's the logic there. This particular promotion is appealing to the snob appeal. So it arouses desire to achieve status and wealth, feel superior. After all, isn't that what Louis Vuitton is all about? So here's an ad.
And I can try to chase you. Cause it's like it can break you. Tell me what you're dreaming. Tell me what you're dreaming. Tell me what you're dreaming about. And as far as I can see.
So that was the snob appeal. Now we're looking at the pity appeal, And this is where you feel sorry and you want to help and you want to donate money. They want to get you to donate money to maybe join a cause, that sort of thing. So
Deadly counterfeit pills and powders are in San Diego County. They can make you drowsy and lead to organ failure. To change it,
For every dog that gets adopted, there's one that doesn't. So when you buy a pedigree, we make a donation to help dogs like Echo find loving homes. The Pedigree Adoption Drive. Help us help dogs.
So they want you to buy their product, and if you buy their product, I'm trying to get out of this, by the way. Yeah, there you go. You buy your product, you basically make yourself feel better by helping, and that's what and we've all seen these pity type appeals, and we've seen them in all kinds of ways. And it always comes down to donating money per month, something like that. Now this one was a little more sophisticated and actually a little harder to find examples of this, but it's the transfer appeal. And it's where you're appealing to irrationality of an audience to make an association with the concept that we want them to join, if you will. And it has to do with propaganda, symbolism. And again, this connection is not logical at all. You're going to see this when you see this Torches of Freedom campaign. It was about getting women to smoke because they thought that they were leaving out half the available market by not appealing to women. So they found a way to do this in a very irrational way.
While disapproving of women who smoked, men began to take up smoking in increasing numbers, partly because a flood of advertisements in what was America's newest mass medium, national magazines, made smoking attractive. These ads evoked the symbolic values many men already associated with cigarettes: sexual appeal, sophistication, pleasure. But they failed to persuade women to risk the disapproval of their menfolk by taking up cigarettes. Even George Washington Hill, the advertising genius who made Lucky Strikes America's best-selling cigarettes, couldn't figure out how to break through the social barriers that kept women from smoking. So he turned to a public relations genius, Edward Bernays.
He said, "We have a problem. We're losing half the market in America because there is a taboo against women smoking, particularly smoking in the streets." He said, "I want your help on that." So I said, before I can offer you a suggestion or a recommendation, I would like your authority to visit Dr. A.A. Brill, who was the leading psychoanalyst of his time. So I went to Dr. Brill and I said, "Can you tell me what cigarettes mean to women?" And as quick as that, he said, "Cigarettes to women are torches of freedom that they use to dramatize their objection to the taboo against smoking by men." And then he added as an afterthought, "and they titillate the erogenous zones of the lips." So I left and wondered what to do with that information. And I decided we would get debutantes to light torches of freedom in the Easter parade to protest man's inhumanity to women by the taboo against smoking. Within 6 weeks, smoking became an accepted pattern for women throughout the United States.
An ancient prejudice has been removed. Today, legally, politically, and socially, womanhood stands in her true light. American intelligence has cast aside the ancient prejudice that held her to be inferior.
Imagine that. So anyway, it shows that it is an approach. You don't see it that often. It's there are illogical connections made in advertising, but this one was sort of the worst one, or maybe the best one I've ever seen. So there's another one, the other Pathos appeal, and it's called the Plain Folks Appeal. And this is like what you're going to see here is a family that is just going, typical family with 2 or 3 kids and trying to get kids to school, trying to get adults to work, and you have that sort of a mourning, if you will, and this kind of like plays on that for this product, which is not a very healthy product, I've heard, but I don't eat it, so.
It's time to bring your dream backyard to life, and you can create the ultimate escape with living spaces and our outdoor collection. We'll get you everything fast, so you can start with
Breakfast in this house. In the morning, I can use all the help I can get. That's why I love Nutella, a delicious hazelnut spread that's perfect on multigrain toast, and even whole wheat waffles. It's a quick and easy way to give my family a breakfast they'll want to eat. And Nutella is made with simple quality ingredients like hazelnuts, skim milk, and a hint of cocoa. They love the taste, and I feel good that they're ready to tackle the day. Nutella, breakfast never tasted this good.
They don't tell you how much sugar is in it, do they? What I want to show you here is just this would be a case study, and I just want to show, this is the Hotel Del Coronado in the San Diego area, and this is just a case study to try to identify what appeal they are using. And they use, this is their website, a lot of video. Interestingly enough, I think you'd probably agree that they may be using, for example, the snob appeal, but they also could be using the bandwagon appeal, because they're showing people like their target audience, families. If you want to be cool, you want your kids to have a good time, go to the Hotel Del Coronado. They don't tell you it's about $1,000 a night in the summer to stay there. So it's and that's not even the highest price. So it's very expensive. And one thing they do offer, it's called the live beach cam. And I'm just curious what's going on down there, because if you're seeing this later on, there is a storm going on, and this is showing there's obviously water on the lens because there's a storm. I just want to see if there's any big surf. That's the South Beach. That's looking south towards Tijuana. This is looking north towards the Point Loma, which you can't see much, but that's because there's a storm. Anyway, it's kind of a cool feature. They've got a live beach cam. You can see what's going on all the time there. So that's kind of cool. But they cross over different areas, and it just kind of shows you, even in the hotel business, that the appeal is in play. Are they using Logos? Are they using Ethos? Are they using Pathos? Sometimes there's a combination. So thank you for your attention, and I'll see you in the classroom.